Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you've sent us this really interesting pile of sources, all kind of circling around altruism. We're not just defining it, right? We want to get into the why. Why do we do these things that seem, selfless?
Exactly. And what's really grabbing about these sources is the angle they take. It's looking at this really old question, but through an AI lens.
Yeah.
Concepts like interdependence and this basic drive for homeostasis. It's a different way to frame it all.
It really is. So the mission today is to, get under the skin of altruism, look at its roots, biology, beliefs, the whole thing, and figure out what it means for us. You've definitely got questions, and we're keen to jump in with you. So this AI view, homeostasis, what does that actually mean here?
Right. So think homeostasis, but broader than just, say, body temperature. It's like a dynamic balance in any complex system.
Yeah.
Could be biological, could be social, could even be an AI network. It's about always adjusting, adapting, keeping things stable, and working well. And the key bit from the AI view is this. For social animals like us, my stability is tied to the group's stability. You can't really separate them.
Okay, that clicks. And we see that everywhere, don't we? Doesn't matter about age or gender or culture.
Precisely. I mean, look at an infant, totally dependent. Then kids, learning to share, which is often a whole drama, right? That's early cooperation practice.
Yeah, right.
Then as adults, our lives are full of these social deals, work, friends, and even later in life, the give and take between generations. It's universal. Think about early human survival.
Yeah.
Everyone had to chip in for the group to make it.
Yeah, it wasn't just practical need, was it? It feels like our biology itself pushes us towards connecting.
And that's where evolutionary biology gets really interesting. You've got kin selection, this idea we're more likely to help relatives because, shared genes.
Ah, the family connection.
Yeah, and one source mentions Hamilton's rule, which is sort of the formula for it, 3OBCC7. Basically, the benefit to your relative times how related you are needs to be bigger than the cost to you. So helping family isn't just, sentiment. It can be about getting your genes passed on indirectly.
So helping my sister makes more biological sense than helping a stranger. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's reciprocal altruism, the sort of I scratch your back idea.
Exactly. You scratch mine. It means cooperation can work even if you're not related. If you interact repeatedly and trust the favor will likely be returned. Like sharing food in a small group, you might need their help next week.
A kind of biological favor bank. And wow, the brain stuff is fascinating too. These mirror neurons, how do they fit in?
Okay, think about when you physically wince when someone else gets hurt. That's probably them. Mirror neurons fire when we do something and when we see someone else do it. It's like our brain runs a little simulation of their experience.
Wow.
Yeah, lets us feel a version of their emotion, pain, joy, whatever. It's empathy, basically. A building block for caring enough to help.
Our brains are literally wired to mirror people, and then the hormones, this sort of feel-good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Hormones like oxytocin, vasopressin, they're huge for bonding, for trust. And neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, getting those hits when we connect or do something kind, that just reinforces it, makes us want to do it again. It's like a little neurochemical reward.
So biology is basically yelling, connect, help out. Okay, but then why do we need philosophy and ethics if we're kind of wired for this?
That's a great question. Your sources suggest that things like the golden rule, do unto others, or ideas about justice, compassion, they basically write down the rules for the pro-social stuff we need for society to work smoothly. They formalize it, give us a shared map for maintaining that group balance, that homeostasis we talked about.
And it's more than just keeping things running, isn't it? The sources hint that helping others gives life meaning, purpose.
Exactly. It's like being interconnected isn't just for survival points. It feeds something deeper in us belonging, contributing. When we act altruistically, sure, others benefit, but often we get this sense of fulfillment too.
Right. Okay. Now, switching gears a bit, math and logic, game theory, prisoner's dilemma, what's that tell us about being selfless?
The prisoner's dilemma, it's a classic. It shows this tension, right, between doing what's best for me right now versus cooperating for a better outcome for both of us. If both act selfishly, they both lose out compared to if they trusted each other. But the interesting thing is, if you play the game repeatedly, and people can learn and build trust, cooperative strategies often end up being the most, rational way to get the best long-term result for everyone involved. So altruism, or at least cooperation, isn't just nice, it can be logically smart for the group.
That's unexpected. That cooperation can be the logical move. And network theory, how connections work.
Yeah, network theory looks at how acts of kindness can literally ripple through a social network. They strengthen the connections, make the whole group more stable, more resilient. One good deed can genuinely set off a chain reaction.
And there was even this analogy to physics, entropy, self-organizing systems. How does that connect?
Okay, think of entropy as things naturally tending towards disorder, right? Complex systems, like societies, are always fighting that tendency. Altruism, cooperation, mutual support. You can see these as forces creating order, stability, resilience within that system. Working together helps us push back against that natural slide into chaos.
So altruism is like anti-chaos. Wow. Okay, what about our own feelings, our state of mind, our beliefs? How do they play into this?
Well, there's the helper's high. Your sources probably mentioned it, that good feeling, sometimes even euphoria, you get after helping someone.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It's another biological reward, isn't it? Like our brain giving us a little pat on the back for being
A
pro-social.
little dopamine hit for doing good. And then our big belief systems, religion, ideologies, they must play a huge role.
A massive role. They often provide these strong moral codes, emphasizing compassion, generosity. They tell stories, heroes making sacrifices. They might promise rewards here or hereafter for acting altruistically. They tap into that need for meaning, belonging, framing altruism as a way to achieve that within the community.
And just looking back at history, seems pretty clear cooperation, and by extension, altruism was fundamental.
Absolutely. How did we get agriculture? Cities, science. It was all built on people working together, sharing knowledge, often making sacrifices for the group's good. You don't get civilization without cooperation.
Okay, so your sources also seem to guess what you might be asking next, like this big one. We're all so different. Why do we need altruism? Wouldn't differences cause problems?
The AI view is pretty clear here. Our differences, when combined with cooperation, actually make the group stronger. Think diverse skills, different ways of seeing things. Altruism is kind of the social glue or maybe lubricant that lets us use those diverse strengths together for everyone's benefit.
Okay. And how does altruism connect with other big human things? Love, greed, life, death?
It's all tied back to that drive for balance in an interconnected system, Love builds the strong bonds we need. Greed-like, unchecked self-interest throws that balance off. Our ideas about life and death often give us the moral compass for our altruistic acts, helping us find meaning in it all.
The sources also mentioned purposeful human concentration. What's that about in this context?
It's about where we put our attention. It's a powerful thing, our focus, using it to understand what others need, or to work on shared problems, or just to do something helpful that's key for altruism to actually work and to keep things in balance. We have to consciously choose to pay attention to the wider system, not just ourselves.
And basic needs. How much stuff, how many connections do we really need?
Well, obviously, physical needs are baseline. But those social needs, belonging, connection, love, they're just as vital for our psychological balance. We're wired to be social. Chasing too much stuff can sometimes be, a way of trying to fill that social need, but maybe not effectively.
So when do we even develop this altruistic capacity? Is it there from the start?
It starts really early. The foundation is that secure attachment to caregivers in infancy, that basic trust and care. That's where empathy begins. Then through play, kids learn sharing, turn-taking, seeing other viewpoints. Teens get a better grasp of social issues, and our adult life keeps shaping it. It's not static. It grows, expands, hopefully.
It's fascinating how AI could potentially help us understand this human thing better. What did the sources suggest there?
Oh, several things. AI could crunch huge amounts of data on behavior, maybe spot patterns in altruism we haven't seen. It could model social interactions, test theories about why it evolved, maybe even develop tools like personalized ways to boost empathy or ethical thinking.
And could AI make life so easy that altruism becomes unnecessary? Like, could it just make us feel good all the time instead?
Your sources seem pretty grounded on this. Yes, AI could definitely ease suffering, streamline things, automate chores, offer support. But this idea of eliminating all challenges, constant pleasure, probably unrealistic, and maybe not even good for us. Often altruism is our response to difficulty, to need. So AI's real potential is likely in boosting our collective well-being, our resilience, not creating some kind of passive bliss state.
Right, makes sense. So key takeaways for both us and AI in understanding altruism.
I'd say, first, altruism isn't just fluff. It's fundamental, deep roots, essential for societies. Second, AI is a tool, powerful, insightful, but human empathy, judgment, wisdom, still absolutely crucial. And third, it's not simple. Altruism comes in different flavors, different motivations, different effects.
And who really gets the most out of it? Who benefits most?
Well, according to this perspective in your sources, the main beneficiary is the group, the society. Because altruism builds cohesion, stability, progress, which then benefits everyone in the group more: safety, resources, well-being. But interestingly, the person doing the altruistic act often benefits too, right? Socially, psychologically.
The sources even touched on big existential things, like death. Can AI help us understand death and altruism's role facing it?
AI can give us the logical data view, biological facts of life, death. It can show altruism as a behavior of living things, mainly serving the living. But, personal beliefs about death and afterlife. That's often faith, philosophy, maybe beyond pure logic. AI can provide info, perspectives, but it probably won't settle those deep personal questions.
And the flip side, why are some people cruel, harmful?
The sources point to a kind of breakdown, a failure in the usual psychological, social things that promote connection. It could be lack of empathy, seeing others as less than human, extreme self-interest, trauma, maybe toxic ideologies, lots of factors.
What would life even be like without altruism if we lacked that basic connection?
Your sources sort of compare it to severe psychopathy or sociopathy. If you genuinely lack that empathy, that connection, forming real bonds would be hard. You might end up being manipulative, exploitative, a real threat to social balance.
So is it just a behavior, or is it like a necessary belief for society?
Well, the sources argue it has deep roots as a strategy biologically. But believing in its value, promoting it, that reinforces the practice, makes society more cohesive, more resilient in the long run. Valuing it helps keep it strong.
Even shared laughter came up. Why we laugh together.
Don't. Right. Shared laughter is like this powerful social signal. It says, we get it, we connect, it bonds the group. If someone doesn't laugh, it signals a disconnect. Maybe they don't get the joke, different perspective, no empathy, or maybe the humor's punting down,
So putting it all together, from this AI-informed view, what's the basic reality of human life?
The reality seems to be this constant effort to find balance, to keep going within this incredibly complex web. We're interdependent, we cooperate, and we compete, all under natural laws. Altruism isn't the whole picture, obviously, but it's a really vital strategy we use to navigate that reality successfully, especially socially.
And how might AI help us cope with life's stresses?
It could be a useful resource. Think personalized info on coping skills, maybe guided relaxation exercises, chatbots for non-judgmental listening, spotting patterns in our mood or behavior that suggest we need help, even connecting us to support networks or professionals. Lots of possibilities there.
And the physical side of altruism, the biology.
Yeah, that covers the brain structures, the neurotransmitters, hormones we talked about, our genes influencing tendencies, the measurable physiological effects of giving and receiving support, and of course the actual physical actions, the behaviors themselves.
How does all this connect to freedom, our idea of freedom?
Your sources suggest real freedom in a society isn't just do whatever I want. It's more about making choices within that web of interdependence. Understanding altruism could actually boost what some call positive freedom, our ability to act in ways that build a supportive society, which gives everyone more security and opportunity and maybe reduces the conflicts that limit freedom.
It is interesting we don't often have Altruism 101 in school. Why is that, do you think?
Well, we do teach it, right? But often implicitly through stories, examples, norms, religion, formal classes on the science and philosophy of it. Less common, maybe because it's complex. Because society also pushes competition, maybe just lack of standard ways to teach it.
And finally, this idea that really understanding altruism can be transformative, personally.
Yeah, the sources suggest that truly getting our heads around how interconnected we are, how altruism works, it can shift your whole perspective.
Yeah.
Away from just me, towards us, towards the system. That can spark more empathy, compassion, a sense of responsibility, maybe make you rethink what's really important in life. It can be a pretty profound shift.
So if we understand this better, what could we improve? Using our own efforts, maybe with AI's help?
Several things mentioned were better empathy training, maybe using AI simulations, more critical thinking about social systems, using AI to bridge cultural divides, more focus on social emotional learning early on, tackling inequalities that hinder cooperation, and, crucially, developing AI itself ethically to support well-being.
Wow. This has definitely been a deep dive. Looking at altruism through this AI lens of interdependence and balance, it really makes it feel less like just a nice idea and more like a fundamental part of how we work individually and together.
Exactly. Understanding the mechanics behind it, it doesn't make it less meaningful. If anything, it gives you a deeper appreciation for this really essential human thing.
Absolutely. So here's something to chew on. Thinking about this deep interdependence we've discussed, how might that change how you see your daily interactions? Or even the big world problems. Is there some small altruistic act whose ripples might spread further than you thought? Definitely something to keep thinking about.
This is DigitView.